investment banks, mutual funds, hedge funds, and insurance companies, right? So they're all part of the financial services industry. Do we have investment banks in the Caribbean? Yeah?
Yes.
No, everybody knows any? Huh? So tell us what that means.
Jamaica Money Market.
Jamaica Money Market Brokers, yes, they are present in Jamaica and in Trinidad. All right, anybody knows any others in Trinidad? It's for Citizens Investment. All right, there's another one I can't remember right now. I'm gonna remember it and I'll come back to you with the name. Fiduciary Trust, I believe the name of it is. What about in our part of the Caribbean?
Is Development Bank one as well? No? Okay.
There's one in St. Lucia, there are three in St. Lucia. You have finance investment company called Fix, they call it Fix. The Bank of St. Lucia has, Bank of St. Lucia Holdings has an investment company as well, Bank of St. Lucia Holdings. Bank of St. Lucia Investment Company. Then there's First Citizens that has a presence in St. Lucia, and no, Development Bank, as far as I know, don't do the investment services. And then you have other commercial bank holding companies that have investment arms, like St. Kitts stands for the National Bank of Dominica. And then there's also Sagicor. Sagicor Finance also does investment management as well. And they're here in Antigua, they're in Barbados, they're in Jamaica. So they are around. And those investment banks also offer brokerage services, right? What's brokerage services? It's not customs brokerage, but brokerage services. What do I mean by brokerage services? What's a broker? A broker is a middleman. So in investment banking, it's a middleman for what? All right, class, read ahead, please. It makes the class a little bit more interesting rather than me standing up up here talking. All right? A broker is an agent, yes. You can have brokers in insurance and you have brokers in investment. And you also have brokers for customs. That's the go-between between the customer and the customs department. But for our purposes, we're referring to in brokerage firms that sell securities. All right? They buy and sell securities. So these learning objectives are mostly for the MGMT3076 persons, right? To analyze the size and the structure of securities firms, investment banks, mutual and hedge funds, and insurance companies, and to discuss the activities of them. For my 2005 people, it's just to know the functions and their activities. We're not doing analysis, a lot of analysis and so on. It's just to be aware of what they do. All right? Okay. So, when we talk about securities firms and investment banks, what do you think they do? What do securities firms and investment banks do?
They sell and manage securities.
They sell, they manage securities, okay? they hold inventory of securities as well. All right, so they may go to a trader to purchase, all right, on your behalf, but sometimes they keep an inventory. Okay, that's the brokers. But the investment bank itself, all right, they also offer other services. One of the so they tell you securities from the investment banks do not engage in asset transformation. So they don't change deposits into loans. All right? They have assets that they're going to sell to you, and they're going to buy assets from you. Right? So they are going to sell, all right, investments to you, and then they're going to give those monies when they sell investments, so stocks, bonds on behalf of corporations or governments, in the case of bonds, then those funds go back to them. All right, that's how companies raise funds. They raise them through investment banks, which issue the securities on their behalf. They issue the equities or the shares, and they issue the bonds on their behalf. So unlike the commercial bank, there's no transformation of assets, so they're not changing cash into loans. All right?
From what I know, can I say something? Like from TV and movies, they have like some rich person and they manage their account. Like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're wealth managers, or, right?
Exciting.
So with the security firms and the investment banks, the households, me, you, and some large companies as well, we provide money by investing in securities. So we're going to give our money to the broker or the dealer, all right, to purchase the securities from the corporation. Or there are some brokers who will purchase, or some investment firms are underwriters, and they will purchase from, like, if you're underwriting, if you're an investment bank that's underwriting, if you're an investment bank that's underwriting an issue, it means that you are selling the full issue. You purchase it from the issuer, so from the government or from the company, and you sell it to the market. So you take the risk. All right, so you're moving funds between households and corporations or governments. All right? So the important thing to note, like I said, is that securities firms, investment banks, they don't transform assets. They don't issue secondary securities, they issue on the primary market. But brokers will purchase securities for their own inventory so that they can sell. All right, and traders do that as well. Okay, so they raise the debt for companies, for governments, investment banks, and they get that money from us and pass it on. All right? They also assist with mergers and acquisitions. So if one company wants to buy another company, they would go to an investment bank to get advice, because what they would do is that they would collect information on the company, and they would analyze the information and give the advice to the company that's trying to either acquire another company fully or merge with another company. All right, so they provide financial advising services, merger and acquisition advising services, along with raising debt on behalf of companies, all right? And then in terms of securities services, they assist with brokerage services, trading services. So the investment bank will hire brokers, will hire traders, will hire security analysts who analyze securities and who provide financial advising services. All right? Like I said earlier, some commercial banks are also doing that sort of carrying out that service as well. Okay, and then there's a difference in their categories of investment banks and investment services. So you have the full line services, which provides the full services. So you have brokers, you have dealers that assist with trading, because brokers and dealers actually, they physically go to the exchange to trade, all right, to purchase and sell securities. And so they do that on behalf of their customers, all right? There's that, and then there's the underwriting, where they will purchase the whole issue from the company or the government. Then you have what you call discount brokers, okay? All they're doing is offering a brokerage service. They're buying and selling on your behalf. They're not providing any advisory services. So those are discount brokers, all right? And then you have securities firm that's purely electronic trading. They do everything online, all right? There's electronic trading, as well as there's over-the-counter trading on an exchange, all right? Then you also have venture capital firms. We don't have many in the Caribbean, there are a few, but venture capital firms, what they do, they get monies from individual investors and they invest them in new businesses. All right, so they would look for startups that need the funds, and depending on the type of investor, they have some called angel investors and different types. They will invest in small and new businesses. Okay, and I pretty much spoke to the underwriting and the distributing of the issues. So new security issues are called initial public offerings, or IPOs. And when we talk about IPOs, we're talking about usually equity, all right? Now, so that is primary, or that's the primary market. And then you have a secondary market, or secondary trading, all right, where persons would have purchased securities, they no longer want them, and they sell them to the investment bank. And so the investment bank will have those securities that they sell to the traders in the investment bank, and so they will have those available for sale. All right? And in terms of underwriting, there are two categories: your best efforts and your firm commitment. So with your best efforts, the investment bank is doing the service, it's selling for a fee, all right? Whereas a firm commitment, the investment bank is going to purchase everything from the issuer, and then make their money by selling to other people. All right? what do you think is involved in investment banking services? So, based on what I said, if you decided, okay, I did a degree in banking and finance at 5 Islands, and I'm gonna go and work for First Citizens Investment Bank. What do you think, what knowledge would a broker need to have to be able to work at First Citizens? I didn't give you all the information, but based on what I said to you, what knowledge you think that they would need to have?
Wealth management.
You should know about wealth management. What's that? How to manage your income, okay. So maybe you need to know about the security market. You need to know what types of securities are issued on these markets. You need to know about the companies that are issuing the securities. All right? You need to know how the market operates. And so you need some specialized skills to be able to do that. All right? If you're going to if you're going to be selling bonds, for example, well, what do you need to know?
Who the brokers are.
You need to know some portfolio management. You need to know you need to know about interest rates and how interest rates affect the market. Yeah. And portfolio management. What was that? What was that?
To know how the different interest rates, like reinvestments rates, and affect the different markets, and
know how risk affect markets, yes.
And how it can affect your portfolio, like when interest rates goes up, it can affect like some of it can affect your portfolio and make your returns go down. So investors can probably think that they should go into like diversify their portfolios and probably focus on like defensive stocks that are not so affected to the interest rates swings.
Internet down.
I was trying to pull up ECSC online just to you can see?
Yes. Barely.
All right. So First Citizens Bank, all right? It's a large bank. It offers services in all areas, right? So you may not be able to see that so clearly, so you could actually pull it up on your device. First Citizen, www.firstcitizens.com. All right, let's have a look at it.
For citizens.
Firstcitizens.com.
I see it. I'm ready.
company?
Yeah, casino, sorry.
Those in the back. So we're looking here at First Citizens Bank. This is in the US. This is not the one in Trinidad. All right? So, and you see they have personal, they have small business, commercial, and I have selected wealth, the wealth management, right? So that is their wealth management arm. And if we look at the different services that they have there, they have trust and fiduciary services, right? What did I say that was?
Trust
Remember?
Yeah.
Remember what trust and fiduciary services are? All right, well, you have homework. Anybody?
Faintly.
All right, so all I did was drill down on the trust and fiduciary services. So it tells you, it actually tells you, you see, you can get information, all right, get knowledge just by checking some things out. So it tells you, they help you to protect your assets and secure your legacy, all right? Now, notice, you have to connect with them to get any information, right? So one of the things they talk about is estate planning. But what does that mean? What's estate planning? What's estate planning? Google it now. You could Google it. Google it, it's okay. You're allowed.
It's the case when I help you to manage your assets for like your children to get it.
Yes, they help you to manage your assets, yes, all right. So you have some money and they're gonna give you advice as to how to, where to maybe put some of those funds, okay? They may even offer a service where they oversee your assets, physical and financial, all right? And or they can also, in that service, suggest to you where you can invest, what you can invest in, all right? And they will manage those assets for you until you're ready to hand it over to your children, so that you have the estate planning and then you have the trust services where they'll manage on your behalf, and then let's say you die, they have that obligation to manage until the children, depending on whatever the trust deed says, they will manage until then. All right? Okay, so let's go back to the wealth management page. So there's private banking, all right? That means private personal, private banking for people who have a lot of money, all right? There's institutional trust services. So insurance companies, for example, all right? A trust company would hold investments in trust for an insurance company or any other company for that matter, right? So they're the ones who would monitor the performance of these investments and ensure that those investments continue to be viable, all right? Also, let's say the regulator says you need to have X amount of investments. The institution offering the institutional trust services will make sure that you don't sell, the insurance company doesn't sell without the authority of the regulator, all right? Or It's going to provide reports to the regulator on the activities, but no activity can happen. It will not release funds unless the approval is received from wherever. All right? And then you have wealth and business planning. So you have the estate planning part, you have retirement planning. How do they give advice on what to invest in order to ensure that you can acquire X amount of funds over time. So the best investments to make, the amounts to make them in, and they may even have an arm that does those investments for you. Then you have charitable planning. If you're giving money, they're going to tell you, okay, this is the best place to give. This is, these are the tax laws, so based on the tax laws, you should give X amount to charity a year, and so on. So those are some of the services that that your investment banks will offer. Okay? They also, the activities, your market making, all right? So they create a secondary market for securities, all right? And so they do it on behalf of customers. A customer is selling, they will sell on the customer's behalf. The customer is purchasing, they will purchase on the customer's behalf. All right? And they will make the money based on, in their transactions, the principal transactions, they make the money based on the price of the securities and how they manage. Okay? With the customer transactions, they charge a fee. That's how they make their money. But one of the things you have to appreciate is the volume and the amount being, the volume and the amount being spent and purchased. All right? So we're talking about ultra-rich people that have portfolios that's buying securities that's going to be investing. All right? And so you can charge a fee of 5%, whatever the going rate is, and make a significant amount of money. Because we're talking about millions of dollars, huh?
Yes.
All right? You're purchasing securities. Your purchase may be a $100,000 purchase. All right? 10% of 100,000 is what? What's 10% of 100,000?
10,000.
Okay. So, you see how they make money? Make
Yes.
money really, really easy. All right? But it means that they have to know their stuff. All right? Also, brokers have to be licensed. So in order to operate as a broker, you have to be licensed. To be licensed, you have to have a certain amount of knowledge. You have to do exams. All right? So in the US, you have Series 3, Series 7. There are different categories of licenses. In Canada, the same thing. For us, if you want to buy and sell securities on the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange, you have to be a licensed broker. You have to do the exam, and they offer a review course, and you can do the exam to become a broker. All right? So there are principals and there are brokers. The principal is a different exam. The broker is just buying and selling. The principal is issued on behalf of somebody, and so they have to have, in addition to the knowledge that the broker needs to have.